We're live. That happened quick.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know what happened there. It's supposed to be a 3-minute video first and then the intro video. I don't know what happened there.
We'll work out the kinks. Um, just a little quick update, folks. We're having some technical difficulties from our guest. He's looking for a spot that has sufficient, I guess, in the deep parts of Washington, wherever he's located. He said it's not, I guess, the internet connection right now is a little spotty where he's currently at. So he is looking for a spot to hopefully we'll get him on the show here soon. But that being said, though, we've already got our first comment.
Yes, sir. Mr. M. Knight. First show. Glad you could be here. Thanks, M. Knight.
Thank you, M. Knight. And if you ever follow this guy, Chris, this guy makes some awesome graphics for like betting lines and everything for player profiles. It's something to check out. I'd give him a follow for sure.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
We already got.
May have to do that.
Yeah. I'll have to send you some of the stuff you sent me. But already up to 19 people watching. Thank you for tuning in. We hope that the coach will figure stuff out.
Definitely looking forward to having him on.
Especially with the coaching timeline that he has. It's a very interesting journey to get all the way to his current position.
Yes, sir. But we got bigger news. We crowned a new champion this week.
Oh yeah, my coworkers were not happy.
I imagine so. You're in Texas. They probably did not like Oklahoma winning that thing.
No, not at all.
But so overall, what did you think of the College World Series, the whole tournament, not just Omaha, but the whole tournament in itself? Did the right teams get in?
For the most part, I say yes. I know there's some people that they were questioning. Like I know we discussed before the tournament even started about when they were doing the whole selection committee thing. Mm-hmm. There was a certain SEC school, I believe Kentucky was one of the ones that was mentioned that maybe they should not have been in. I know you were against it, and some of our other guests were, against it. And one of the schools that we felt should have been in was Mercer.
Yes, absolutely should have been in. And here's the thing. Okay, Mercer's not good enough to get in this tournament, right? Mm-hmm. But if you look what's happened to their roster has been depleted by all of their guys transferring out to Power 4 programs. So they're not good enough to get in the tournament to compete with the Power 4s, but they're good enough to go raid their players. That stuff has got to stop. That mentality has to stop at some point. Team that won it was kind of questionable of whether they should have been in over some other schools.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess none of that matters now. They proved us all wrong.
They did. They certainly proved us wrong. I just don't understand how you can leave teams out that finish ahead of them in the conference and have more wins in the SEC than the College World Series champion did. But they don't get in, and this team did. I don't understand how that happens.
Now, how does that work? Did Oklahoma have the better overall win-loss record?
No, they were about roughly the same. Mm-hmm. They were roughly the same. They got in based on their RPI because their strength of schedule. Mm-hmm. I get that. I get it. But you're punishing a team because other teams didn't turn out to be what they were predicted to be.
True.
You look at TCU. They were preseason top 15, and they turned out to be not very good. And that becomes a negative mark against somebody else.
Yes.
It's not it's not Team X's fault that Team Y wasn't good.
Yeah.
Not their fault. UC Irvine, they were expected to contend for a conference championship and make a run in a tournament, and they turned out to be not very good. And again, Team X gets punished for it, and they had nothing to do with Team Y not being good.
Yeah.
So until they fix that, I don't know how you change what happens. But Mercer definitely, I think, should have been in. I think Vanderbilt, I'll say we didn't deserve to get in based on what we did. But we did have more wins than 2 SEC teams that got in, and we got left out. So
hopefully they fix some in the off season.
Got to do something. But let's talk about this champion. Are you ready for us to show everybody who it was?
Yes.
Your College World Series champions in 2026. None other than the Big 12's Boomer Sooner. Congratulations on Oklahoma on winning that. And yes, I did call them a Big 12 team. Oh. I'm still not ready to accept them as the SEC, but it is what it is.
It's been over 10 years now. Oh, no. I'm thinking of when.
It's 2 years.
No, I was thinking back when the Pac-12 was there, when Colorado and Utah moved over there. Oh,
yeah.
Looks like we got somebody here.
Okay, so let me move this off. Terry, you've done a lot of work behind the scenes. I appreciate you doing this work. So without further ado, I'm going to allow you to go ahead and introduce this guy.
So I'm very excited about this one, even though they are a rival school to my Bruins. But this is, well, as I mentioned before, this is our first ever, you say, I don't know how they do with baseball, but I guess, would you say Power 4?
Yeah, definitely Power 4.
So it'd be our first Power 4 team that we've had on the show in Division I. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the head coach of the Washington Huskies, Coach Eddie Smith.
There he is. How you doing, Coach Smith? I think you're muted, sir.
Can you hear us?
You
try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm setting it. Well, golly, guys, for being right in the heart of the tech industry and having Microsoft right down the road from us, I guess I should have been a little better on the tech side of things, huh?
It's all good. It's all good.
I
Perfectly
apologize.
fine. Welcome to the show. Glad you got everything figured out and situated, and we're excited to have you on.
Well, fired up to be here, guys, and holy smokes, just right in the heart of portal recruiting, and here it goes. So it's a wonderful time to be on and talk about what we all love.
Yes,
are you in the middle of a trip right now to talk to somebody, or are you just?
Yeah, Washington All-State baseball games were this week, and then I was able to pair that up with a visit with one of our targets, and that is something we're on. And then we're kind of out here in the middle of nowhere, and again, I thought that the place I had was going to have wireless that was sufficient enough, but it doesn't, and it's in the middle of nowhere. So here I am on White Pass. They're in the great state of Washington, right in the heart of the state, and was able to figure out how to get my hotspot on my phone with enough cell reception, and here we go.
All right. I appreciate you working hard to get that done for us.
I'm sorry that it took me a few minutes to get on here with you guys. Sorry about that.
You're perfectly fine.
So, as Terry mentioned, this is Coach Eddie Smith from the University of Washington, the Huskies. Um, for people that don't know who you are, we're going to give you the floor for just a couple minutes. Introduce yourself to the college baseball world. Um, I actually have a Facebook group that's got about 1,500 members in it called College Baseball Smack. You're live in there. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and how you got to where you're at.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Yeah, so I grew up in the state of Washington, went to high school here, played 2 years of junior college baseball in Washington. So getting to be the coach at the University of Washington, it's really, really special and an awesome place to be. Grew up going to football games at Husky Stadium, basketball games, baseball games, a lot of purple and gold in the wardrobe growing up as a kid. It was an era where the football team was winning national championships and Rose Bowls. And so it's awesome to be here. After junior college, I transferred to the University of Notre Dame. I played 2 years there. I then began my coaching career right away, 5 years at the University of Virginia with Coach O'Connor. And it was an awesome start, something that made it really clear this is what I wanted to do. And it's something where I got to be an assistant at Santa Clara and Notre Dame and Tulane and LSU. Along the way, I was a head coach at a junior college right back here in Washington. And then I got a chance to be a Division I head coach for the first time at Utah Valley University. Spent 3 years there, and now we're going into our third season at Washington.
It's quite a journey, quite a journey. You mentioned Brian O'Connor, Virginia. Of course, I, being a Vanderbilt fan, have some things with Brian O'Connor. Beat them in 2014, and then he turned around and pulled the big upset in 2015. And now he's at Mississippi State. A great influence on you, I would assume.
Well, there's no doubt about that. You talk about those 14 and 15 World Series championship series. It was something where I was actually there in Omaha in 2014 and then at the edge of my seat in 2015. And then I later worked for Travis Jewett, who was the hitting coach at Vanderbilt at the time. And so, those series were ones that I feel like I've had both perspectives, pitch by pitch, and you talk about Coach O'Connor's influence. It's been gigantic on my career, and he inspired me in so many ways. And then he really showed me how to run a college baseball program. And so much of what we do here, so much of what we did at Utah Valley, so much of what we did at Lower Columbia Junior College is just rooted in all the things that we did at Virginia, in part in structure, and then also in large part, maybe more importantly, in values and pillars and just how we go about our business every single day.
Okay. I'm going to kind of take a step back a little bit. I'm going to let Terry ask some questions. He's my Pac-12 representative. Unfortunately, he cheers for UCLA. But before I turn it over to him to ask some questions, I got to ask you, what is a worse feeling or what is the worst look? Is it being the first number 1 overall seed not to make a regional final, or would it be the first overall number 1 seed to lose 2 games to a number 4 seed? Which one's worse for you, Coach?
Oh gosh, I've only been a number 1 overall seed one time, and we were really fortunate that year. We actually won Game 3 of the Super Regional. We were down in 2011 to UC Irvine, great scrappy team, and we were down in Game 3, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, 2 strikes, nobody on, down 2-1, and we got a hit, and then we got another hit, and then a walk, and then Chris Taylor, future star of the Los Angeles Dodgers, had a walk-off single for us. When you put your favorite moments in the history of the game up there on a list, that's always kind of been right there, 1, 2, 3 in my career. So that just brings back memory lane right there.
Sweet. See, I got to give Terry crap because, UCLA losing to a 4 seed twice, right? I think that kind of tops what Vanderbilt did last year, not making the regional final.
Oh, Well, it's so hard that time of year. So many teams are great. You get into those regionals and everybody's there for a reason. Either they got really hot at the right time or they're just a really solid team, and sometimes a combination of both. So that's the beauty. That's why we love this game. That's why it breaks our heart, because you never know what's going to happen. It's the most unpredictable sport out there.
Yes, sir. So, Terry, I'm going to let you start firing away.
All right. Well, the question I had in mind, I kind of went blank after Chris took that little cheap jab at me, but there was something Chris had with the well, I think of one, Chris. You want to ask about the purple thing?
Okay, yeah. So you've been an assistant coach at LSU. You're now the head coach at the University of Washington. So we're going to have a grape off. And the theory of this grape off is, which color of purple is the better shade? Is the LSU purple or is it the Washington purple?
Oh, that's an easy question. It's absolutely the Washington purple. There's no doubt about that. Great story there for you. My elementary school was purple. My middle school was purple. My high school was purple. And it was all rooted in the high school that I went to being purple, all part of the same district. And the reason the high school was purple, actually, though, was because it opened up in 1955. And when it opened up, Coach Fouts, who was a legend at the high school, started out as a football coach, basketball, baseball coach, all three, as he did back then in 1955. He knew somebody at the University of Washington. Brand new school. They're opening up. Fall's coming around, football games. They needed a set of uniforms. And so they got hand-me-downs from the University of Washington. And so purple's always been my favorite color for all of those reasons. I've worn it a lot throughout my career, and Husky purple's a special one for sure.
All right, we're going to clip that. We're going to post that in some SEC chat groups, and we're going to get some traction on that one. I appreciate you answering that, Coach, and having fun with it.
There's no doubt about that. That Baton Rouge media is going to tear me apart, but that's okay. It wouldn't be the first time.
Now, you mentioned about middle of the like heavy activity going on in the transfer portal, and everything. Now, it's in regards to the transfer portal as well as recruiting. What are some of the benefits when you're making your pitch about coming to Washington? But then, what are some of the challenges you face in terms of coming to Washington to some of the recruiters that might be on the ropes or the transfer students?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of reasons to come to the University of Washington. It starts with baseball at the highest level. Power 4, we've got a facility that's it's not the best in the Big Ten. You'd have a hard time telling me there's another one that's significantly better. All the amenities that we have. We've got a top 20 football program in the country. You probably make the argument top 10 if you look at the last 40 years. Well, what happens is that you got an infrastructure in place through nutrition and weight rooms and stuff like that, where the baseball experience is really, really good. And that's demonstrated. We were in Omaha in 2018. We've had a lot of guys go on and play professional baseball. We're in the NCAA tournament frequently. So that baseball at the highest level is a big piece of it. Another piece of it that I would share, we've got an elite education. We were just ranked the number 12 school in the world. That's fluctuated in the top 20 in my 3 years of being here. As good as number 7 a few years ago. So the education is really, really good here. Our grads are set up for life. And then the last piece is, it's pretty awesome. Our players will go to Mariners games, Seahawks games, concerts downtown. It's a 12-minute train ride, free with your student ID to get downtown from campus. And the city's right at our fingertips. And what I always like to point out, though, is our campus was moved here in 1911 to its current location from outside of the downtown area where it started. And the focus was that they wanted to have a true college town and that kind of experience at the University of Washington outside of town. Well, the city's grown up around us. I mean, that's urban sprawl is real, and Seattle surrounds us, and it's great. But they've done a great job of keeping that college town identity here. College shops, college restaurants, college bars, fraternities, sororities. All of our athletic facilities are on campus. As you guys know, so many urban facilities, you're going to go off campus 3 or 4 miles to the ballpark, and then you're going to be a mile and a half the other direction to the weight room. And we have all of that right in the same fingerprint. So it's something where that combination where we've got a world-class experience in the city with a college town, elite education, and baseball at the highest level, you can't find that very many places. Okay. It's like Miami, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Northwestern, and Washington of the schools that offer those things. And so it's a great place to go to school. Our players love it. I think maybe the challenge you asked me to address, I think it's certainly money. It's something where I've got to do a better job of fundraising for our roster's payroll, because right now we're behind. We're behind the Power Four. We're behind in our conference, and I've got to do a better job of somehow, some way, finding some individuals that have businesses that see that we're out here, and we're setting our program record for GPA. We're graduating players. Our players are going on to play professional baseball. They're doing great things. We've got to increase our payroll to be competitive, to retain players, first of all. If you look at this program now, the last 5 years, we've had our top player transfer, and there's a lot more money out there, as we all know, and we've got to do something about that. I've got to go find people that are really excited about our program and able to transform where we are on the financial side of things, so we can go out there and retain those players going forward, and then recruit superstars around them.
Yeah. All right. So a couple things real quick.
Okay.
So for my I'd like to say first, my aunt, she's a big Huskies fan. She actually lives in Olympia.
Oh, that's my hometown.
So
I love it.
I always like visiting her. Every time I go up, when I was little, she actually sent me a Huskies, like those old little sweatshirts. So it said Washington, had the official school seal, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So I was I told her, she's like, well, do you like it? I'm like, well, it's not a USC sweater, so we're good. So I'd still
Okay.
wear it for her and everything. And you talked about, education, because my son actually, he's looking to be a marine biologist. And one of the schools he mentioned that, well, first, the top of his list is Hawaii right now.
Okay.
And then he mentioned also, Washington, because he said he wants to be close. His favorite sea creature, he's about to turn 11 next week, actually. So he'll be, one of his favorite sea creatures is an orca. I'm like, well, you probably find some up in the Northwest somewhere. So if you ever
absolutely. And our marine biology headquarters is actually up on Orcas Island, Friday Harbor, for our school, which is where the orcas literally are all the time. It's the only place I've ever seen an orca in my life. And our Institute for Marine Biology is right there.
I'm going to tell him that. So maybe I don't have to send him to Hawaii.
No doubt about that. No question.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
So when you talk about transfer portal and losing players to the portal, do you find it's harder for Washington to compete in that realm with NIL and transfer portal, or do you think it makes it a little bit easier being part of a Power Four conference?
A little bit of both, certainly the brand, and we're a school that people see playing football on Saturdays on national TV all the time. We were in the national championship football game 2 years ago. Those sorts of things carry a lot of weight. You get on the phone with people and they want to listen. Now, the reality is that it's getting so professionalized in that transfer portal, and there's a lot of people involved with every individual player, from parents to handlers to travel coaches to agents, that have a lot of influence on the players. And I think we're seeing a market nationwide that has just really moved toward the dollar being what moves the needle for decisions. And so once you have dollar amounts that are competitive for an individual, now you can talk about all of the amenities that you have to offer, and the experience that you have to offer, and the education you have to offer. And that's certainly maybe going to give you a chance to secure a commitment out of somebody who really values those things, and you're able to put a semi competitive offer, even one that's a little bit lesser out there. But, there tends to be gaps of 50 to 100 to, in some cases, $400,000, $500,000 in the offer we're able to make a prospect compared to where he ends up committing. And those are really hard for anybody to overcome in this market. I was on the phone with a coach who's won a couple of national championships recently enough the other day. And, he was sharing how he's got to make decisions even to walk away on the financial side because he wants the player, but he can't go spend another $50,000 to $100,000 on this player, which is where that player's market is. And that's the nature of it right now. The same way that offseason free agency is going to go here in November and December at the professional level.
Okay. So Terry likes to get into the serious stuff like the recruiting and all that business. I like to have fun on these podcasts. Of course, I've been blessed with the 2% pod with 3 former Vanderbilt players that do their thing. Getting to watch Coach Corbin do his thing on podcast. I've been blessed. I like to have fun. I like to get you to free up a little bit and maybe tell some war stories, talk a little bit of junk. But I got to ask you, okay, you see Terry over here. He's got on this wrinkled up white T-shirt. It says Big League Chew on it. It's got a big picture of their logo and everything. I got to ask you, Coach, on the field, are you a gum guy, a seed guy, or a dip guy?
Well, I haven't dipped in a really long time, maybe twice in my life, and it was never a good experience. That was like back in my junior college days. And so I have got a pretty strong policy against it in our program. So I'm glad that's finding its way out of the game. But it's something where, in this point in my career, I don't really chew seeds or chew gum. It's one of those things that I do try to stay hydrated. So I'll always have my water bottle. I stay very consistent with what water bottle that is. And it's always in the same cubby when we're at home, or if we go on the road for a 3-game set, like, hey, usually that helmet rack's pretty close to where I'm standing, and the players know I've got my cubby and stay away. But I love that Big League Chew shirt. That's a Northwest company right there. But it's one of those things where, gosh, I don't do it on the field.
I got you. And that's all well and fair. It's interesting, some of the conversations you get by asking questions like that. But not only that, but you see, Terry's kind of, I'm not going to throw darts at him or anything, but he's a bigger guy.
Been doing it all show.
And I'm not going to lie, I'm a bigger guy myself. So we're going to come to Washington to visit you and hang out for a day. We like to eat. One of Terry's favorite foods is corn on the cob.
Okay.
He loves corn on the cob. But we like to eat. We want to know, when we come out there, are you going to cook for us? Or are we going to go out to eat? And if we do, what's on the menu?
I'm not going to cook for you. I was an amateur cook in my bachelor days, and then I married one of the best cooks on the face of the earth. So I've deferred those duties to the expert there. It's something where if we're going to go get something to eat, and it's up to me, we're going to Briley's Barbecue here in Seattle. Unbelievable stuff. And I've lived all over the South. I've spent 9 years in southern states, and I know that the South is so proud of their barbecue, but let me tell you, Briley's tops them all. So if you're in Seattle, Briley's Barbecue is the place to check out.
Okay,
now, sorry to cut you off, Chris. Now, is it one of those places to where you have of course the traditional smoked meats, but some places are also known for like their staple side dishes to complement the meat as well? Is there anything like any sides from that place that you'd say would go great with whatever you order?
You can't go wrong, but I love their mac and cheese. It is like thick, and holy cow, it's incredible. Just make sure you don't have any workouts planned afterward, because you'd probably be having that come right back up. It's just thick and full of calories and full of great taste, that's for sure.
Okay, I got to ask, is it pulled pork or is it brisket?
They'll do both. I love their
Okay.
brisket. They actually do these tips in these like little square models. I've never seen it anywhere else. They pair that with their house-made barbecue sauce. It's unbelievable. And the pulled pork is really good too. I don't want to shortcut anything here. It's that good. And I will say I've been a barbecue connoisseur over the years, and nothing beats Briley's.
Okay. I'm down for that. I love me some barbecue. Terry does too.
Especially currently living in Texas.
Yeah.
Got a question here from a friend of the show also for you, Coach. It's Jody Robinson. Favorite road trip in the Big Ten, not including your old Pac teams?
Okay. Well, so far I'm going to have to say Nebraska on that one. We opened up there in 2025, and it was the first weekend of Big Ten play. March 7th through 9th, 2025 is when it was scheduled for. We got there and it was snowing on Thursday, practice day. Friday, it was 35, 38 degrees and sleet sideways. And Coach Will Bolt, who I have so much respect for, called me and said, hey, we're going to go doubleheader tomorrow. It's looking a lot better. And he was right. Opening day there at their park, Haymarket Field. And it was like 58 degrees and sunny a day later. And they had 5,000 people there. It was rocking. It ended up being a good day for the Huskies. We won both games of the doubleheader. We came out the next day and they had 3,000 people. It was 70 degrees out. And so, between the weather and the crowd and the atmosphere, and then of course you win a series on the road, that's hard to do, especially at a place like Nebraska where they're so good. That was a really, really fun weekend and great experience.
So if memory serves me correct, that was the Nebraska team that had the ball player that they played Vanderbilt out. I think it was in Arizona, and had the player get his face smashed with the ball. And I think he ended up finishing the game or something with us. Kind of a wild story. Kid was tough as nails.
Uh-huh.
I think he was on that team. I'm not sure.
It certainly could be the case. I don't remember that story, but if it was 2025, that would be correct.
Yeah, it was either 24 or 25. We played them out in Arizona, and the kid just got his face wrecked by a ball, and tough as nails. But compare the trip to Nebraska to, say, a place like Penn State. Okay, Penn State has been investing money in their baseball program.
Yeah.
Last year they were pretty good. Last year they scored double-digit runs in like 40 games last year. Incredible offensive team last year. This year they struggled. Compare a trip to Nebraska and against a program with that kind of history versus a trip to Penn State where they're investing and trying to build something.
Well, Penn State was a really awesome ballpark. If you've not been there, I think it's worth going to. You've got Mount Nittany in center field as a pretty cool backdrop. And then if you're the center fielder, you're looking in and you see a 105,000 seat Beaver Stadium right as your background. Really, really neat. And so it's a great ballpark. It was formerly a minor league ballpark before contraction. Really, really cool in that way. I'll tell you, our trip out there was different. It was graduation weekend in State College, Pennsylvania. So we had to stay an hour and 15 minutes away to save, the hotels just weren't available in State College. It didn't matter. I mean, we tried as soon as the schedule was released, we recognized the issue, and we just had no ability to go reserve 20 hotels at the same place. We actually even looked into like an Airbnb in the middle of the woods, because State College, Pennsylvania is in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of like where I am right now, right? And we looked into this lodge and before we could get all the boxes checked on that. Somebody else had reserved that. So we stayed in Altoona, Pennsylvania. We ended up having rain all weekend. It just was a unique experience in that sense. And then, we won a ball game out there, but we didn't win the series. And so I think so much of an experience is influenced by how you play. And we didn't play horrible, but we didn't play great.
So what would you give for advice for the coach at Penn State who, like I said, he's trying to build a program out of. He's literally got nothing to work with other than the stadium. That there's been no investment from Penn State until the last 2 or 3 years. What would be your best advice to give a coach in that situation to get that program up to where he wants it to be?
Oh, recruit. And I've got no doubt they're doing that. That's why you saw what you saw in 2025 with such a great season from them. And I know that they were absolutely decimated with injury this year on the mound. And I think that they, finished near the bottom of the league, if not the bottom of the league in ERA. And, I know that they have somebody who's a projected first-round pick coming from Japan in 2027. I think they're going to be in great shape. They're going to rebound. He does such a great job. If you follow what Mike did at Boston College, Penn State is the team to look out for over the next decade in the Big Ten.
Okay. That's interesting to hear because I like following teams like Penn State and Purdue and some of these teams you don't hear about often that are trying to build new programs and get themselves where they belong. If an opportunity ever came up, I know you're at home at Washington, but say Iowa State or Wisconsin or one of these other Power 4 teams that don't have a baseball program decided to do that, and they say, Coach Smith, you are our guy. We want you to build our program. Would you be interested?
Oh, there's only one place I'm going to coach college baseball again, and I'm there. So I'm fired up about that. I mean, I'll tell you what,
Okay.
I got this job after 20 years in college baseball, and I took so many flights, so many long drives, all the backwoods, all the main roads, everything in between. And, when you're doing that, you sometimes wonder, hey, what are we doing this for? And the answer was always really simple for me. That was to be the coach at Washington, to take the Huskies to Omaha. And so that's my mission in life. And I'm here right now in the driver's seat to get to do that. So it's a pretty special time.
And looking at your record, you've got the program headed in the right direction. You improved on your record this year. Last year was kind of tough walking in first year on a program that was kind of taking a step back. You've got it headed back in the right direction. What's it going to take to get from where it's at to get to Omaha?
Oh, that's simple. Money. I live within 3 miles of Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. And it's one of those things where somehow, some way, there is somebody out there who could understand what we're doing, appreciate it, and would have the means to help get us there. Now, the landscape has transformed so much. It's something where, hey, the price of admission to be really competitive as a top 20 baseball program right now is very high compared to what it was 2 to 5 years ago. And with that said, it's still something that I think it's such a great time in college sports because it's never been more clear of what it takes to go win at a really high level. And, the pathway to getting there is so simple. It used to be you'd have to try to read minds of players and read their feelings and read what they were really, really prioritizing. What is that? The education? Was that the business school? Was that the pitching coach? Was that the facilities? Was that proximity to home? And now the answer, we all have the answer to that test. And so, I'm working to build that every single day, trying some creative ways to connect with people in the community who might be excited about what we're doing and growing these men in our program and, winning championships along the way, both on the field and hopefully creating people who are championship winners in life after their time here, whether that's on the field still or other avenues. And it's an exciting time. The deck is reshuffling. Hey, what used to be known as a 20th through 40th type of a program, or a 80th through 100th type of a program, you could put away what you took for granted or what you assumed a program was going to be in the 2010s or the 2000s. That's been totally reshuffled. And you're seeing people like Troy make that investment in programs, and other schools that maybe they haven't been playing in the Rose Bowl or college football playoff or March Madness as much, so you don't know their brand, but they've said, hey, baseball is going to be really important here. And, it's a really exciting time in the sport, and schools and programs have that opportunity to make that jump.
Okay. Now, this is my last question before I turn it back over to Terry for a few minutes. I'm glad you mentioned Troy, because when they announced the tournament this year, there was a lot of controversy over some teams getting in, some teams getting left out. Tell us how you would fix the system where a team like Mercer doesn't get left out, or a team that finishes 2 games behind somebody in a conference gets in, and the team with the more wins doesn't. How do you fix it?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things I would say. I think that, RPI, it needs to be replaced with DSR as soon as possible. Quite frankly, I'm doing my job in the sense that I've studied RPI extensively. I've had some consulting with some people who are truly the experts on it, and I'm realizing more and more how scheduling impacts your RPI so much. And you can really, really schedule to try to break the system with RPI. I've also consulted with DSR and 643 charts and asked them, hey, okay, I know the cheat code to RPI. I see DSR as the future here, whether it's next year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, that it becomes the predominant metric that's used. What's the cheat code? And after 2 Zooms and a couple of hours spent with them, there's no cheat code. Like no matter what you do scheduling wise, you can't cheat DSR. So I think that's a big thing to give us a true metric on who the best teams are. The next piece I'd say, there's a lot of talk about going to a system where you go and you have 32 host sites opening weekend of the NCAA tournament, as opposed to 16 with 4 teams per regional. I like that idea. I think we should go 32 host sites. The more times that you have postseason baseball in locations that don't traditionally have it, it's going to grow the game like a wildfire exponentially. And that's why it's so important to do that. If you have a place like Minnesota or Penn State or Northeastern hosting a regional, what that's going to do for that administration and their commitment to the sport and the fans of that school and the fans in that community's love for college baseball, it's going to grow it so fast. And that's only going to do great things for the game. But another caveat I think would be so great in that model would be, let's take the top 8 teams who we've always rewarded to some degree, where the path to Omaha goes through them, and it still would. But let's give those first round sites a play-in game, and now you've got 8 additional teams that go to a regional. They play a single game on Thursday night, and they have to burn their aces, which is good for that top 8 seed. They've earned not having to face an ace, because we all know you're playing a 3-game set, and you play, Yale had that guy this year who's a potential first rounder. You play Yale, you're sitting there and facing a potential first rounder. Hey, I'm a 5 seed. I shouldn't have to face a potential first rounder to decide my ability to advance to the round of 16 hosts in 32 schools. So I think that would be a really cool way to include 8 more teams into the format of a postseason.
Okay. Interesting take there. Would you put in punishments for schools who cancel games because it might hurt their metric?
Well, if we just go to the DSR, it's a moot point, because the DSR would weed all that out. And so I'm just hopeful we can get to the DSR and, get in a position where there's no motivation for schools to do that.
Okay. Perfect answer. I love that. Terry, ask some questions.
All right. So I'm going to kind of go back to the lighter side of things. Now, this is going to be, I'm not going to lie, when I go visit up there, because 1, I want to see my aunt, and then 2, I kind of want to do a double dip, because there's no overlap, I know, between college baseball and football season, if I'm not mistaken. So first thing, I'm at the game. Is there an exclusive food that you only find at Husky Stadium during the baseball game, or is it just basically traditional stuff? And if there is that food, what is it? Something that folks would like to try.
I've never been in the stadium at the current Husky ballpark for a baseball game. It was built in 2015. And so I've only been in the dugout. So I can't answer that question too well, but I know my cousin absolutely feasted on Dollar Dog Night this last year. He said it was the best. And my aunt, not his mother, a different aunt, also raves about our hot dogs. So I don't know what it is about the Husky ballpark dog, but it's a good one.
Was he able to complete the 9 for 9?
I don't think he went 9 for 9. I think he's a little bit beyond his prime. I think he's just about to turn 31, and I think that's probably something more for a 21-year-old who is having maybe a 21st birthday to have that and wash that down with a few beers. So he's not done the 9 for 9.
So a lot of schools are going to a specific drink in their stadiums. Like Vanderbilt, you have Conquer and Prevail. You got Iowa's got their own drink. Is Washington considering having their own adult beverage in their stadium?
It's a really good question, but if I had my vote, it'd be Rainier, proud Seattle lager that's been around forever.
Okay.
That's an Olympia, right?
Well, that's Olympia beer. It is hard to find these days, but the Olympia Brewery was there forever. It's the water was their slogan. And, as a kid, I remember going to the brewery. We'd take tours of the brewery, and the building is still there, but they haven't brewed any beer for many years now.
Okay. Go ahead, Terry.
So, obviously, I don't want to go just see any regular old Husky game. I want to see. And I feel like since with this whole conference realignment, you probably lost the main rival in, say, Washington State. So would it safe to say the big ticket to go see Husky Stadium at a baseball game, would it be against, say, University of Oregon? Is that like the top rival for the school at the current moment?
I'll leave that up to the fans. To me, we got a ball game and they're turning that scoreboard on. That's our rival that night. And more than anything, our rival's human nature. As a coach, you got the opponent in the other dugout, but really coaching is all about getting people to do something that is usually contrary to human nature and being willing to sacrifice the comfort in the moment for the satisfaction of the achievement. And so it's something we talk about with our guys all the time of, it's all about us. The opponent's nameless, the opponent's faceless. If we're the best version of ourselves, we're a really good team. And that's what we're always focused on. I know that the media out there, they like to, they got a job to do and create the stories and everything else. And I don't know. I know that there's a lot of teams out there that, for whatever reason, we've played them for a lot of years. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're close in proximity. The media likes to talk about those games maybe more than others. But for us, it's all about the purple and gold and how good can we be.
Very nice. Now, have you gone to a football game yet since you've been head coach there?
Oh yeah, I haven't missed a football game yet. In fact, I get to go down on the sideline, and I tell this to people all the time. I'm a college football fanatic. I've been to games all over Texas, Florida State, LSU for a lot of them, Notre Dame for a lot of them. Could go on and on with the list of stadiums I've been to, and there's nothing like Husky Stadium. Grew up coming to games here, was at a game here in 2000 when the Huskies beat Miami, Miami had Ken Dorsey, Santana Moss, players like that, and ended a long winning streak. The stadium was shaking. I've never been in a stadium that's been louder. There's an upper deck on both sides of the stadium that has a roof on it, and there's something about the acoustics where the noise just bounces off the roof, and I've never been in a louder stadium before. And you mix that in with Seattle in the fall, which is amazing, and sailgating, where we've got a large contingent of people who will take their boats and they'll tailgate all day on a boat ride from all over the Puget Sound and Lake Washington, park their boats and, catch the little commuter little boat, 50 to 100 yards offshore there, right? Pulls you right up to the docks at Husky Stadium. There's just nothing like it. And so football game days here are incredible.
And that's the second part of my double dip. I actually want to experience the whole boat thing and tailgating out on the water and everything. I know that was voted for like one of the top 10, if not 5 college pregame experiences throughout the whole country. So
we'll get you set up. We'll get you on the big dog out there. I know they're not afraid to have a drink or two on that boat as you go in and enjoy the game, and it'll pull you right up into parking spot 1 if you're on the big dog. So we'll get you all squared away. It's an experience that is just so unique in the game.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you put your thinking cap on and get in serious mode for just a few minutes. Number one, what is your philosophy on pitching? I'm a fan of just go in, throw strikes, and do your job. I don't concern myself with, this guy's a sidewinder, or this guy's an overhand, or this guy's a 3/4 arm slot. Does arm slot matter to you? Does spin rate matter to you? What's your philosophy on pitching?
My philosophy on pitching right now is that we've got the best pitching coach in the country, and I really think it's critical. I give him the reins to be the head coach of our pitchers, and I give him all the autonomy that I think that a head coach should have. I give him the ability to go out and recruit any pitchers he wants to recruit. We basically have a set budget aside for our pitchers within our scholarship allotment. And, I tell him, go get them, and give him that kind of freedom. So I've really stayed at an aerial level of pitching in my time here at Washington, because Connor Lambert does such a great job with those guys, and the numbers have shown that he does such an amazing job. All I'm going to do is screw it up if I get too involved. And, that's my kind of outlook on it. I think it's something where there's a lot of alignment. Connor is relentless in demanding that our pitchers attack the zone. It's something where he values their development. He values the importance of every day. And those are the reasons that I'm so willing and eager to stay out of his way and let him do what he does with the pitchers. Ultimately, to me, I talked to him about wanting to be at a certain spot in the league, a certain spot in the country as far as run prevention goes. And I try to task him with that and provide him the tools that he's able to go out and do that. And so far he's done a great job with that. And hopefully we can take one more step in that as we go forward, and take about 2 or 3 more steps up in our offense.
Okay. And speaking of offense, that's the next question. When it comes to hitting, do you prefer the longer path through the zone, or do you prefer the launch angle method?
Well, what we talk about with our guys all the time is get a good pitch to hit and hit the ball hard. I think there's a lot of ways to hit. You line up 100 Hall of Famers right here in front of us, and you'd see 100 different swings. And so to me, particularly if the player's older, we're not going to sit there and reconstruct his swing entirely. We're going to sit there and challenge a player in our batting practice every day and how we go about a lot of things, but it's something where that's something that's up to the individual player as far as what their swing looks like in its foundation. And then we'll go from there and polish it up on a daily basis through a lot of different things. But I want our hitters on the attack. I want our hitters being athletic. I feel like the more you sit there and try to talk about too much of the mechanical side of their swing, you start turning guys into the tin man. You turn them into robots. And that's a big, big concern of mine is, not unleashing the beast in a hitter. And that's what we focus toward every single day there.
Okay. That's awesome philosophy there as well. Now, the deepest question you're going to get from me, let's say you just went on a road trip. And I'm just going to say you went over to Eastern Washington. They've beat you 37-10. Your pitchers threw over 300 pitches in 7 innings. It was the worst beatdown you've ever seen in your life. You're on a bus. It's 1:30 in the morning, and you're going back to campus, and you want to quit. Who's the one person in your phone that you're going to call to help you reset and refocus on, hey, I can do this, and I'm going to get my team better than what we did today?
Oh, that's my wife. She pushes me. She pushes me hard. She was a national champion rower, participated in some Olympic trials. I mean, she's the true competitor of the household. There's no doubt about that. So, she's great at that. And, pointing out the alternative options and, how, hey, figure it out and make it happen, and we'll get this done. We've been here before, and, this is part of it.
Okay, Terry, you can mark that one down. We got our second answer for the wife on that one. You're the second coach that said the wife is number one call. But that's as serious as I'm going to get. I'm going to let Terry ask a few more.
We know every season, off season, I know it's not much of an off season. However, when you're still recruiting, whether it's out of high school or, hitting up the transfer portal, but let's say the times you do actually get time to yourself and the family, what sort of things you like to do to kind of say, just forget about baseball for a little bit, experience the beautiful area, the Northwest of, Washington? Like, is there like certain hobbies you like to do, or just anything that's not baseball related?
Yeah, you don't have time for hobbies as a college baseball coach. I always share the story about Lou Holtz when he was looking to hire assistant coaches. He'd always ask them about their golf game. Hey, how's your golf game been? And, the second that a candidate would start saying, oh, it's getting better, I've been playing a lot lately, he'd just end the interview right there, as legend has it, because, there's just not time to have hobbies. But I try to take a week away every summer, because I do think that when you do separate yourself a little bit, it's inevitable you're going to start thinking about baseball again, but your thoughts are probably going to be a little more clear, and you're going to gain some clarity through that distance from the day to day. And I do think that's important. It's kind of varied as far as where we go to get away, but if there's any water anywhere near at all, I'm going to go try to put a fishing pole in the water. I do find a way of getting away to an extent when I've got a line in the water, but that's really about it. I do enjoy going out and traveling and seeing different parts of the world. Don't do that as much anymore. Transfer portal Division I landscape has kind of transformed the calendar to one that's all encompassing for about 49 of 52 weeks of the year. So that's where we're at.
Just don't catch an orca. You might make my son mad.
Well, tell him to stop eating the salmon, then we can have a conversation.
He does love sushi too.
So real quick, do you drink coffee?
Well, I don't, but I'll tell you a funny story. I got to Washington, and Coach Chris Peterson has been somebody who's been really influential on me from a distance. I've just respected what he does and how he did it when he was at Washington. I was a junior college head coach for the first time. He did a lot of things really well that I've tried to mimic in so many ways in our program. And so I got hired at Washington, and one of the coolest things was the day after I got hired, Coach Peterson called me, and he said, "Welcome to the Dogs." He hosts a monthly, it's kind of a get together with all of our coaches to be able to just talk about a topic, but more than anything, it kind of is a discussion with Coach Pete, and it's awesome. But he also invited me to reach out and see if you wanted to connect, and so we connected over coffee. And I mean, I just don't like the taste of coffee. I don't like anything about coffee. And so I'm there with Coach Peterson, and we're at a coffee shop. That's what he'd offered to meet this place. It was great. And we were there. We walk up to the counter. I order, and I order. The only thing I know how to order, because I got such a sweet tooth, because sometimes I get put in this position, is a iced caramel macchiato. And Coach Peterson orders right after me, and he goes, "I'll take the drip coffee, black coffee, no cream or sugar." I'm just like, gosh darn, I don't know if I can order an iced caramel macchiato. And Coach Pete's going straight cowboy style, old school. I loved it. And, since that point, I've continued to probably take more meetings over coffee. I don't know if it's just a Seattle thing or getting over 40 thing or what, but I've converted myself to a black coffee drinker when necessary.
Okay. So there's a reason I asked that. We're going to take about a minute break right here. We're going to roll an advertisement for our sponsor, Cocaine Coffee. For the people watching, if you use the promo code Villains15, you get 15% off your order. So let's take a look at Cocaine Coffee, and we'll be right back in 1 minute. I appreciate Cocaine Coffee for jumping on board and being a sponsor with us. Again, if you use the code Villains15, you get 15% off your order, and you're going to help a good cause because the coffee's from Colombia. That's where it's grown at. And what's unique about it is coca used to be the number one plant harvested in Colombia. Well, coca is used to make cocaine with. They're trying to change the image of Colombia and make their agricultural something more stand up, if you will. So they're converting all of the coca fields into coffee fields now, growing the coffee in the same fields that where they used to grow the coca plants. And every time you buy Cocaine Coffee, a portion of that fund goes to help the farmers in Colombia transition that product. Again, Cocaine Coffee, Villains15 is your promo code. Go get you some coffee. Back to you, Terry.
Well, I'm not sure what else I really have left. I think I had asked all my questions. Well, I know you're parked over there. So usually what I always like to ask the coaches as we wind down the show is that if you want to stick around. However, I won't do that for you. I'll just call you by the phone number because there's things I want to discuss with you, off air. However,
Absolutely.
but I'm not sure. I don't know if Chris has anything else left or.
Oh, I can always come up with some questions, right?
Yeah.
So we want to hear some war stories. Tell us about the most epic occasion where you have been tossed from a game.
Well, the most epic, our team really needed it. We were on like a 14-day road trip, and we had flown to Pullman, Washington, bused to Portland, Oregon, bused to Sacramento, California, while we were at Utah Valley. It was our first season there. The team had been coming off of 10-47 season the year before. We were on I think we had lost maybe 4 out of 5 games at that point. Some of them tough losses. And so there was a call, and, first base umpire had called him out. They got together, they overturned it, called him safe. There was no replay because it was the whack. And it was one of those things where as they overturned it, it was hot. and our team was grouchy and grumpy, and they needed a little bit of shot of adrenaline. And I'll tell you what, the umpires, they have such a hard job. And the Big Ten umpires are so good compared to, what the game maybe offered years ago. They're so good now, and replay has made them better, and TrackMan's made them better. But in that moment, our team needed a shot of energy, and it's part of your job as the manager or the coach is to infuse that energy when the team needs it. And obviously it's been a part of our game for many years. And I'd say it was a moment where I got my money's worth, but I think the umpires knew it and understood it and appreciated it in that moment a little bit. And I didn't swear. I didn't get on them personally. They were good guys and they were trying their best. And, it was what it was. And so, hey, on to the next.
Okay. Will there ever be an instance where you take first or third base with you as you leave?
I don't anticipate that. No, I don't anticipate that being necessary to motivate a team when that moment comes up every 9 months or so. It feels like it comes up. So I don't think that'll be the path to doing it.
Okay. Let's see. What's another fun one? Okay. Let's talk about players pimping home runs. I'm all for a player pimping a home run, right? And I'm okay with a bat flip to a limit. Let's say your guy's halfway down first base line and he flips his bat 10 feet in the air because you just walked off Oregon State with a grand slam. And he's flipping his bat 10 feet in the air. He's pimping it for all it's worth. Is he going to have repercussions when he comes back in practice, or are you going to celebrate that moment with him?
Yeah, well, I think I want our guys to enjoy victory. I want our guys to enjoy success. I want them to enjoy it together. That's the biggest thing to me is I want to make sure our guys are always focused on our team and each other and motivating each other and holding each other accountable to playing hard and playing tough and playing to the standard. I think it's something where those moments that come up in the game, they got to be celebrated. They got to be so we put so much into those moments, so you better enjoy them. What I would say is I think it's so important, though, that, one, if you hit a homer, if you're not going to run 100% out of the box, it better be a homer. And that's a big thing, because if you're going to leave potentially a triple on the table because you didn't run hard, or, hey, you aren't even able to get to second base because you didn't run hard out of the box on a ball that stays in the ballpark, that's hurting the team. And so that's the first thing there. And then, I think rightfully so, the NCAA has really cracked down on bat flips and that sort of thing. So we always talk about it with our players. Hey, you hit a homer, just drop that bat. You can celebrate it by all means as you round the bases. Just make sure it's celebrating with your team, and then you get in that dugout, celebrate some more. That's my philosophy on home run celebrations.
Okay, so what is it that Washington does in the dugout? At Tennessee, you have the daddy coat. At Virginia Tech, you got the sledgehammer. Every team's got something. What does Washington have?
Yeah, our guys have like an Army helmet, like one of those helmets that's almost like straight out of World War II, where the soldiers wear them in the trenches, and there's a W sticker on it. So it's a little bit customized to Washington. As soon as the guy gets in the dugout, they'll put that on him, and he wears it around a little bit.
Okay, I like that. Nice and laid back, but you're doing something to celebrate it, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So as a head coach, and this may be sour grapes or whatever, but do you take pride in the fact that Isaac Yeager transfers out, goes to Oregon State, does what he does? Jason Hoskins transfers out, he's going to Arizona State. Does it make you proud as a coach that you've been able to develop these kids where somebody else wants to come pay them and take them away?
Well, I'm certainly proud of the development that's going on in our program. It's pretty evident, when you start digging through the stats. it's an immediate message to what I touched on earlier of the need for me to find, the person or a couple of people that are really excited about what we're doing here and growing these players and growing these men, and finding those people and getting them excited and having them recognize that, hey, if our top player can stay in our program, we're going to have a pretty nice path to do what we want to accomplish. And then, that'd be priority one. And then, hey, even more of an investment is going to allow us to go attract teammates that are of the same caliber, and that's when we can do something special and play a lot of baseball on TV in June. And so searching for that, it's something that we're really working toward every single day in different ways, and still trying to run all of the traditional modules of the program also.
So I won't ask you to name names. The whole theory in the transfer portal is that there's tampering going on. We know that the University of Washington was involved in a huge tamper scandal with LSU and Lane Kiffin. May have been some lawsuits filed, all of that kind of mess. We'll not get into those specifics. But if you know firsthand that a coach of another team is tampering with one of your players, what's your practice to handle that? Is it call the coach and say, hey, knock it off, or are you going to say something publicly about it?
Yeah, I mean, my focus is always on our players and, the conversations we have with our players, and we really want people that want to be here. If a player's in our locker room and they have second thoughts about wanting to be here the next season, then, when things get hard and you get put in that foxhole, that player is going to want to, just sit there and think about other options and opportunities he had, as opposed to go fight out of that foxhole with his teammates. And so we're looking for those foxhole guys that want to be here regardless. Our focus is always on that part of it. And certainly we will, continue to have that approach no matter, and that strategy, no matter the situation. We want people who want to be dogs.
Okay. I appreciate that. Now it's hard when you're trying to build the program back to what it was. Washington was in Omaha recently, less than 10 years ago. What's it going to feel like for you personally to get them back there?
Oh, I think about that every day. Yeah. I mean, it wakes me up in the morning, that's for sure. I think it's something where the lifestyle has become one where you got to go fast and faster. You're either eating or you're getting eaten alive. And it's something where that's the motivation. I can't tell you what that's going to feel like, but it's certainly the carrot that dangles in front of me every day when I wake up.
Okay. So I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to let you talk a little trash. Okay. We all know Diego Pavia talked a lot of smack last year. He said, we're going to win a national title at Vanderbilt. We want to hear you say that Washington baseball is going to win a College World Series. Can you say it?
Hey, Washington baseball is going to win a World Series one day.
There you go, Coach. I love that. And you said it with such confidence too, and knowing and belief that it's going to happen. And that's what matters when you're building a program. I appreciate you coming on here. It's been fun talking to you. We're going to give you just a few minutes. Shout out whoever you want to shout out, whether it's your wife, your kids, your best friend, your college roommate. Give you a few time to shout out people that matter in your life.
And if you'd like, also mention your socials for people to say follow you on X or whatever the case may be, as well as Husky baseball.
Okay, yeah. Well, certainly my wife, Jennifer, she's the one that keeps the house rolling. My heart and soul is, just into my 3.5-year-old little girl who a lot of good nights are via FaceTime these days, but it's something that when we get to spend time together, when I am home, it's the best time. So she's my world, that's for sure. And I've got to give a lot of credit to my parents. Unbelievable. My dad was the first coach I really got to watch. He coached for 45 years in the state of Washington, and I've never seen anybody on earth work as hard as my mom worked. So they're awesome. You know, so many coaches along the way, both in my time as a player and as a coach, that had such influence on me that I can't name them all, but they've all made an impact. I know you talked about the socials. I think it's Coach Eddie Smith on every platform that I'm on as far as the handle. And then Diamond Dogs at UW Diamond Dogs is kind of our in-house, we call it our garage band account. You know, it's one where social media, I think, has such a big influence in the recruiting space over the last 5 to 10 years. I always say, hey, you know, you speak English when you're in the United States, and if you're in Colombia, you're speaking Spanish. Well, if you want to speak to the teenagers, you're speaking social media. And so we really try to use that to our advantage, because we do have so many things that are worth showing off and highlighting. And so get on those UW Diamond Dogs accounts, some great content on there.
And I just did. I looked it up right now. So you got a follower from a rival school.
Okay.
Okay. With your socials, and you talk about in today's day and age, to talk to young people, it's got to be on the socials. Most programs have somebody that runs their social media accounts. Would you ever consider letting one of your seniors that's been there? He's been a dog for 4 years. He's been through thick and thin. Would you let your players take control of those accounts and let them do the posting, so it's more authentic coming from a player than a social media director?
Oh, for sure. No doubt about that. You know, we try to highlight the players every step of the way. You know, all these videos that are so popular now, where you have like the candid video ready to go with a sign under it with a question to ask the players what, you know, who's their favorite big leaguer and why, or, you know, those sorts of questions are great. But, you know, we actually did that when I was at my previous school, where we had the player takeover, where they somehow got the login to the account or whatever it might have been. And they were able to post throughout the day. And we did that quite frequently. And I think it gained a lot of traction.
But that would be fun. I'm going to be watching your socials to see if I can pinpoint if a player is posting it, or if your social media director is, because I think that would be fun to try and capture. Again, Coach, I appreciate you being here. You're our first Power 4 head coach.
We hope you're not the last.
Right. I've had a couple Power 4 football players.
Okay.
Had a Vanderbilt player come on a couple times. For football, you're our first Power 4 head coach in baseball. We certainly appreciate you. It means the world to me. I've been doing this for 4 years with this show and trying to build it from the ground up. And our goal is to grow the game of college baseball. And I appreciate you doing that and being part of this. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
I sure appreciate your guys' passion. I can sense it from all the way across the country. So let's keep growing this great game. Something I fell in love with years ago. And I feel like it's something where the fan support and the fan bases just get bigger every single year, and the sky is the limit. And the moment is now. It's the golden era of college baseball. And, you know, it's an exciting time to be in it.
Okay. And you mentioned baseball. I just did see a report today that the Women's College World Series drew 1.6 million viewers. The Men's World Series drew 1.5 million viewers. Now, here's the question. What can you glean from the University of Washington softball program, which is a national power? What can you glean from them to get your program where that's at?
Well, Coach Tarr is a legend. I've tried to gather as much knowledge from her as I can. I've been following her program. I'll never forget their 2009 national championship run. I've had friends who played in their program who they just love their time so much as part of the Husky softball program. And, you know, these were peers. This was back in my 20s, where they spoke so highly and had so much respect for Coach Tarr. I always thought that's how I wanted players that played in a program I was the coach of to talk about me in our program. So I'm can't say enough about her leadership, the program she has, what she's meant to me in my time here to help me understand the institution and help me along the way. She's the best, and certainly a lot to unpack and learn from them.
So would we be able to see any joint ventures, or like maybe schedule a softball game and a baseball game, and like do creative things, like if you go to the baseball game you get free tickets to the softball game, or vice versa? Could we see some ventures like that going forward?
I think that's something we could try to figure out, because she's brought up some of those ideas. Every once in a while they'll come practice on our field when they need it for some reason. She's allowed us to hit in her cages. Our connection is great, and she's talked about some ideas about stuff like that, whether for fundraising or just fun times between our two programs, and I could see something like that developing.
And that's awesome to hear, Coach. I'm going to let Terry walk us out. It's been great talking to you, Coach. Hope to do it again. Definitely earned a fan in me today. Thank you so much for being here. Terry, walk us out, and I'll get ready to play our video.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, tuning in. To the 92 people that are currently watching live, and everyone who's going to watch afterwards, and just say thank you. Thank you again, Coach Smith. I'm glad we could, get everything figured out, and definitely was excited to get that response from you. Yeah. So for those wondering for next week, we do have another interview lined up as we dip into the Division III ranks. It will be from out of Denison University. We will have Coach Mike Deegan on the show if all goes well. So always knock on wood after that, and thank you all, and see you all next Sunday.
Yep. Same great time, same great place next Sunday. Might be a little fluctuation in time. We might go back to 6 o'clock. We might say 7 o'clock. We're not sure. But we'll be back here next Sunday night with Coach Deegan if everything works out perfectly. And with that, folks, I'm on my way to the couch.